Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is me Yamini and you are watching Procaffeinate with Books. So if you are in a spooky mood and looking forward to celebrate Halloween, do keep on watching. So I went to market to do a little bit of Halloween shopping and I found a lot of decor which is possibly there in every bookstore possible, and even other stores like 99 bookstores and everything, they also had a lot of Halloween stuff going on around there. And now I have some updates for you guys on the spooky TBR prompt that we were doing for the October season. And for my Dark Academia book prompt, I decided to read Atlas 6 by Olive Blake. Now the story of this book is around 6 magicians who are basically shortlisted from across the globe to compete against each other, and at the end of the tournament there will be only 5 of them left. One will be eliminated. Now when I say eliminated, I don't necessarily mean that that person would be sent home. It actually means that that person would be killed. Now by the time the contestants are actually understanding this reality of the competition, they are already into it and they are having a very hard time facing it. The book has almost 50% of it invested into the plot building aspect and giving it a little bit of slow start from my perspective, but it will make sense once you understand that there is a second part coming out to it. And needless to say, the book actually ends on a cliffhanger, which is not really my favorite kind of an ending. And there is one very peculiar thing that I wanted to share with you guys, that one of the contestants, the female contestants who's there, has this subconscious part of her screaming in the mind, I think, like, Mother, Mother, where is you? And it's so annoying, I can't tell you. I actually was pairing this book up with an audiobook, so I was reading the text and that voice in my head, I just had to take a lot of pauses just to get over that noise. It's so annoying. So contrary to how people were following head over heels for this book, I think this is a great book, but definitely not an excellent book. So it would be a 4 out of 5 stars for me. But I did actually love the kind of magical combinations this book was able to create out of each individual's talent that they were showcasing. Basically the individual talents on themselves would be useful, but the permutations and combinations that it created to have unique capabilities and creating unique magics by multiplying basically the talents of each of them together into a different outcome, that was something really unique to watch. So I did enjoy that part of the setting. So I'll basically conclude that this is more of an audience specific book, and if you really love dark academia, secret societies, but with a hint of magical realism into it, I think this would be a great perfect book for you. So I picked up Spells for Change to cover up my next reading prompt of reading a book with a witchy recipe. Now this is a non-fiction book acting as a guide for people who basically want to increase their knowledge around magical elements, herbs, stones, and other little things related to witchcraft. And like mentioned in every other witchy book or movie that you might have seen, while attempting witchcraft, intent is what matters the most, and this book also focuses a lot around the intent part of it. Well, I did went blindfold into this one. I just read the word spells into the title and a beautiful cover calling out to me, and I was like, okay, here I come. And that's how I dived in. And I was not necessarily looking for a guidebook around the witchcraft and spells, but I did get to cover my spooky prompt, so I'm okay with it. It was a good some read, a 3 out of 5 star I would say for me. The next prompt that I got to cover was reading a book with witch in the title, for which I decided to read Better Witch Than Never. It's actually a small and cozy book with Salem City, around where the witches have been residing for a long time, and with a theme plot of a murder mystery. Now, there's a young girl into the book who's actually dealing with a heartbreak and a life sucking job, but also has a cute little cat who's helping her deal with all these things in her life. Well, I did feel that the book was a little too short for me, but considering that it's meant for children, I think the length was appropriate. But I do also feel that because nothing much happened into this book, I was left feeling कि ये कब शुरू हुई कब खत्म हुई पता ही नहीं चला. And the final prompt that I got to cover this week was to read a book that's also a movie, for which I decided to pick up My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. So I went one step ahead and read the book and also saw the movie to feel how things are there and compare it a little bit. I did find the movie a bit funny. It definitely was spooky, but there were a lot of funny moments in there as well. However, when I talk about the book, it was damn creepy. When I say damn creepy, I mean you have to take breaks. You cannot just read that book in one go. You will have to take a lot of pauses, digest things that it's telling you, and take a basically a heartbeat to breathe in and breathe out, calm yourself, and then read ahead around what's going on into the story. But the movie was definitely funny. Now, this sentence could be a spoiler alert, but I would like to say there were a lot of instances where the person who actually suggested the girl to do her best friend's exorcism, as soon as he faces the ghost for the first time by actually knowing who that ghost is, he just started panicking so badly and made such funny faces and movements that it automatically became humorous. So, the book was creepy, the movie was good, overall, a good attempt. And with that, I have the Spooky TBR prompt updates for you guys over here, and I hope you all also had a good try out of them and tried to strike at least a rope by reading a couple of books around these prompts. But that were not all the books that I read recently. I also read the little book of Hook, A Danish Way of Living, which is basically helping us understand the Danish concept of hook. It cannot be directly translated into English somehow, just like many other languages which have so many words and concepts that cannot be directly translated. So I'll just give you a quick peek into it. It's actually, in my language, I would say, little warm and cozy things that basically tend to entice satisfaction and in turn resulting in a happy mind and situations in your life that give you a wholesome feeling. So a good example of hook would be a cozy corner in your room where you can sit and drink coffee, or even a reading corner, or collecting things from the forest and keeping it in your home as a positive vibe scenario. Definitely not roaming around with a Gucci Prada bag around yourself. So that is something I would consider a hugu as translated by the author in the book. And this was a non-fiction book which basically enlightens a bit more around why people in Denmark are the happiest around the world scale index, giving you insights around how you can achieve them too. And finally, for my Halloween week, I read Misfits Magic by Fred Gravely. The story is about a young boy named Koff who has moved through a lot of foster homes recently and is these days staying in a small town. Now, accidentally, he comes across some magical elements and becomes a wizard. Now, in this book, magic basically attaches itself to something or someone, which basically means a witch or a wizard. Also, in this world, at any given time frame, there are basically two magicians who help create a distribution of magic and a balance in the magical laws. But the other wizard in this case is seen to be accumulating a lot of power because he is very power hungry, obviously. Wizards are so, and he is accumulating all the magic to himself, creating a contour and an imbalance in nature. Now, Koff has to really stop them so that his friends, his loved ones, and his town doesn't get hurt. Now I find this whimsical tale a perfect fit to read right now, with its plot set around Halloween night and the characters of the book including wizards, gargoyles, snakes, and huge spiders. I love that the book actually imports you into a different magical land and keeps you hooked up there with its simplistic writing and twists that seem to be created by a cat with a woolen ball roaming around. With that, October has almost come to a wrap, and here are my monthly reading updates so far. I do hope I get to cover one more book in the last few days of the month. And also, I haven't really recommended Gallant to you guys. I think it would be a great book to read in this season. So let me know in the comments down below what is your most favorite read for this month, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Until then, keep your coffee strong and your TBRs long. Have a happy Halloween and goodbye.